Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another CZN video. In this video, I am going to cover Khalipe from like top to bottom. This will be beneficial for new players. This will be beneficial for veteran players at this point. You know, the veteran players of a month or whatever it is at that point. This video will have longevity, so this will always be relevant unless they do balance changes, I'd imagine. But I've played with Khalipe a lot, and it's time that I share that knowledge. And even though I played with her a lot, I was actually building her incorrectly based on something that was in her kit. And I will be going over that as well. So this is going to be a build guide. I might talk about some teams, some synergies, some stuff like that. Basically, I'm going to give you all the information I can about this unit right here. First, I'll talk about dupes. If you get a dupe, just use it. I mean, unless you're against using dupes. Typically, you want to remove Tears Vow and you want to remove Lashing. You can remove Upward Slash, but the thing is, like, this card's actually synergistic with her kit. It would be your third removal, so it would cost 50 points unless you go through other means of making it cheaper. So it's really not that bad of a card to just keep in your deck. It's a very good card. One of her potential nodes turns it into AoE. It's single target at first. It becomes pretty good. It does pretty good defensive damage. It's not a bad ability to keep in. If you're pushing your deck to the limits with your save data, definitely keep this in. But if you're running a more thinner deck, you can totally take it out. So we'll start with Vulture. This is her bread and butter here. There's a couple epiphanies that I like, and it's really just the base upgrade and the pure damage one. The pure damage one is just for damage. You're not going to get any shielding from it. They both function the same exact way. The other three, I think the shield one is complete dog shit. I think this one is dog shit, and this is kind of like your third option if you're left with the other three. You just take the shield for card in hand. But realistically, it's either the base upgrade here in the middle or this one over here. You get additional effects on these with God Epiphanies. So ideally, you're looking for like draw, AP, vulnerable, stuff like that. Stuff that's beneficial. Minus cost doesn't do anything because the way Celestial works here, you get to cast it for free if you use a 2 cost. So you really don't want minus cost in these because it's kind of redundant. It's just a waste of a God Epiphany. It's an extra 20 points on your save file. My favorite is probably like I like Agony. You can get counterattack on it. You can get AP on it. You can get draw on it. I'm pretty sure. I'm unsure about draw. I don't know if you can get draw on it. I want to say you can, but I know for a fact you can get like AP Agony counter. Vulnerable. Vulnerable is the really good one. Vulnerable is a 50% damage increase. And since you chain a lot of these together, you activate an extra attack once you stack 3 Silver Veils. So being able to apply vulnerable throughout your vultures is a really powerful thing to have. Great sword here. This is a very solid card. Like the epiphanies here, honestly, I'll usually end up just taking the one that has the best God Epiphany if it's available. I really like the Silver Veil one here because more Silver Veil means more of the extra attack, which means more damage. You could also get this with vulnerable on it as well, and it becomes really nice. This is one thing you don't necessarily want minus cost on, however, unless you go for the Retrieve 3 one, because a cool trick with this, you get minus cost on it. You can just use it 3 times for free, and that's a good amount of damage. You won't be using it to proc your Vulture in that instance, though, so keep that in mind. The rest of these, they're kind of okay. I just really prefer the Silver Veil one because I like getting that extra attack off more. Then next, we have Overpower. And Overpower is kind of a special one because you can actually get on your regular epiphanies an added effect on a lot of these. With a regular epiphany, not even a God Epiphany. And I will show you that. There's like some rare versions of epiphanies that do not show in here. The ones that I like the most is, I like this one, because it becomes a really good source of shielding. The action count is okay. Extra tenacity damage, kind of whatever. This one's decent as well, but I kind of like the base vulnerable, and I'll show you that one. And the DR is just kind of mediocre, to be honest. I prefer the shield one, or just the one that gives you straight up vulnerable is the best. Then we have Rally here. I really like the 1 cost Silver Veil Celestial one here, because if your Celestial card is in your discard pile, it will cycle your deck and it will still draw your Vulture for you. Your highest cost card, it's not always going to draw your Vulture. So this is my #1 option personally. If you can get it with minus cost, that's even better. If you can get it with +1 AP, making it a 0 cost, even better. And then second favorite is just the one that adds the Celestial tag. It's essentially the same thing. But it remains like a highest cost, but you get to cast it for free in that instance as well. But this one is by far my favorite. Here's an ideal vulture. See, this is a regular epiphany. It's a base epiphany here. Applies to vulnerable. This is like the ideal one to get, or you get like a god epiphany and it has like just damage on it. But this is the kind of thing you're looking for ideally. Here's a greatsword that epiphanied with vulnerable. You can also get a lot of agony stacked up on Khalipe as well. You can use the Gastronomicon in collaboration with getting agony on your greatsword and on your vulture if you're lucky enough. However, those come through god epiphanies. They're kind of hard to get. AP on overpower. See, this is a base epiphany. It's just the base thing with added AP. You can get this with vulnerable as well. I have one in here somewhere. This is like my main damage Khalipe right now. I've had her forever. It's just the base. God epiphanied with agony on it. 3 copies. So this is the one I like using the most. I've had it for almost a month. Ah, here it is. I scrolled past it. This is probably my favorite God epiphany to get on this card when it looks like this, because you can proc like a double vulture out of this, or a vulture into your silver veil proc, and you get 2 hits on the vulnerable immediately for, you know, a fat damage increase. So there's some examples of epiphanies. Now we have the potentials. I like maxing this out because a lot of times I keep that upward slash that is buffed here to AoE, like I mentioned earlier. It just gives it more damage. This is a pretty cheap node to max out. Doesn't cost you very much. This I don't max out. Really, you just want to max this out, and you want to max this out. I haven't done it yet. This node, you can max it out. I mean, if you want more health, but this is really expensive just for more health. Not a great idea. And then this node here I want to talk about, because it's actually a big debate, and it made me build my Khalipe wrong. So, you do not want to stack attack to 700. You just don't. It's not good. You do not want to do it, and I'll explain why. Okay, so what we have here, a very, very good old friend of mine from Epic 7 made this little chart here. I'm not a chart guy. I can understand a couple things by this chart though. And he did say he actually made it look a little bit nicer so I could throw it in a video for you guys. So if you guys could just go down in the comments and just say, thank you, Lilac. Thank you for helping us make our Khalipe not shit. I'm actually activating this potential node secondary effect here. But what I want you to see, and why this is important, flat defense is just way better to stack. The context of this graph is that it assumes 1 swing of your great sword with no epiphany and 1 vulture proc with the damage epiphany, so the one with no shield, per turn. And that is how this is simulated, essentially. This is your points of investment. I don't know if it's an exact 1-to-1, but this is just basically the more of this that you have going this way, and this is your damage, you know, across that investment. How much damage you're going to do with those 2 abilities, okay? So if you can see, with the attack investment here, it's fucking terrible. Like, you want to go defense all the way, and that even includes percent defense on everything. Whether that outweighs the agony 2 set, I don't know. I think you always go crit 2 set. I didn't really I haven't gone into the gear portion yet, but you want to go crit set and either probably crit damage or defense or agony. Those are your 3 other options depending on what you have, but you want to actually stack as much defense as you can on your Khalipe. And that's it. Even though that potency node says you want 700 attack to activate this other portion of it, it is not worth getting because of how well the defense scales. And this likely applies to any defense scaling unit. You do not want attack on them at all. The damage per point gain is fucking awful in comparison. Even to percent defense. Even though her base attack is way higher than her base defense. So hopefully you guys are kind of tracking what this chart says. Like I said, I don't completely understand it, but I could look at a chart and see green line good, red line bad. Now that we've gone through that, we will go into gear a little bit. So like I said, 2 set, my stats are bad. I was farming gear that looked like this because this is what I wanted, because I wanted to hit that attack threshold. But in reality, I should have defense percent up here, a high defense sub, and that's it. I mean, to squeeze out damage, like what you probably want in order of priority is you want as much crit chance as you can get and crit damage. So essentially on every piece of gear, what you're looking for is like double defense or defense crit or what have you. Defense crit, crit damage. That's what you want. Extra damage applies to her Silver Veil proc. So that's also not that bad to get, I think. And then, of course, like dot damage if you're running a lot of Agony in the build. Probably decent as well. And then you can run Agony set, which is, you know, a double bonus, right? Because you're getting just 10% damage increase there. I think Agony set is the best 2 set for that reason. Because it is just a 10% damage increase. And you apply Agony pretty much perma. So I think the best way to build her is probably through Agony with scaling a lot of defense. Like I'm talking about like for the max damage potential. With scaling a lot of defense, a lot of crit damage with Agony set on. Alternatively, you could just run the crit damage 2 set. That's probably the... I don't know. It's probably... They're probably about even. It depends on how high your crit is. Like, the higher your crit is, the more value you're going to get out of the crit damage. So if you have lower crit, maybe... Like, my crit's only like 55%. Maybe I would benefit more from a defense set to just scale the base damage a little bit higher. But if my crit was at like 75 plus 80, I would probably go for the crit damage. And that's just like spitballing numbers. But yeah, that's essentially Khalipe. Going into gear, I will talk about that too. Holy shit. Whoop. Renji, be quiet. Hush, I'm making a video. I was gonna go through like a lot of different pieces, but that took entirely way too long. I don't want to double the length of this video just to talk about gear. This blue weapon is one of the best weapons in the game for Khalipe, hands down. With body armor, like if you can find any extra source of damage that's equipped on your body armor, that's ideal if you're trying to push the unit's damage farther. You know, you can get like crit, you can get percentage-based defense. Like there's a blue that drops, I think it's called the Contaminated Helmet, in the Mist Planet. And there's also the Cthulhu armor that gives defense. You can put the Mulligan armor on here. Really, the armor piece is kind of like just throw something there because you scale off defense. You want the defense there, like you want a piece there. But like there's so many different armor pieces that you can just run for the chest piece, and they're, you know, just make sure something is there. If you can get crit, great. You know, like if you can get more shielding, that's fine. This is really good too. Just make sure something is in your armor slot. That's really important. And then the ring slot, this is just very good for Khalipe in general. You'll see this every single run. But you can also get stuff where like this is like really good on her. Basically, if you can get damage in your ring slot and in your armor slot, go for the damage. If you can't, just try to find something that has utility in it, something that isn't catered to just the chaos if you're trying to keep the save. There's a lot of different options you can take, but you're not always presented with everything you want, so you kind of just take what you can get. There's a lot of very good neutral options that are in the shop every time. The X+1, a good solid option you could take every single time because you're pretty much always going to have absolute protection in your deck, so it's just worth taking. And that's as far as I'm going to go into gear. I don't want to go too crazy and be like, oh, if you get this piece with this piece and interacts with this piece and this piece. If you get vulnerable, like there's stuff that applies weaken when you apply vulnerable. Just, you know, like just look at what your epiphanies are and then pick appropriate gear. Just make sure you have something in every slot if you can. Gastronomicon, you'll see every run almost. You pretty much will see every single run. So just grab it and throw it on her. If you want to try a legendary piece of gear, remember the attack doesn't scale that well, so it doesn't matter. You want the effect on it. There's some pretty good draw effects in the seasonal content right now that give bonus damage when you draw. You can try out some of that stuff as well. But just make sure there's a piece in every slot. Yeah, let me know if I missed anything. I don't think I did. I don't really talk about synergies, but like Khalipe is a babysitter. You can run her with anybody you want, essentially. If you run Mika, Khalipe, you can put any unit in that last slot, and it'll be just fine. You can beat all the content in the game. Like, literally any fucking unit you want. You can put Owen there. I've done that. I've run that team a lot. You can put Amir there. You can put Selena there. You can put fucking Nia there. You can put anybody. Literally any other unit, and it will work just fine. So, yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to try and edit this down as much as I can, because this is fucking a long-ass recording. But I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you hit the comments, like, subscribe, all that stuff for me. Really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys later.
You fight as if you have 9 lives. This world has no place for you.